Our Bible study this summer is Daniel, and I am so grateful that we're walking through this Bible study. So grateful Sam planned it out, laid it out, and here's why. When I was younger, I didn't know the stuff we're walking through. I didn't know how to process challenges in my life. I didn't know how you could face challenges, feel defeated, but yet thrive instead of just survive. I didn't know these things. Now, in fairness, if someone shared this with me when I was younger, chances are I wasn't paying attention. But I didn't know these things, and I'm so grateful we're walking through the stories. I'm so grateful we're slowing down and we're learning these lessons. I'm really grateful at church to be talking to folks younger than me to help us process, have a game plan before we walk through the challenges of life. So here's my question for you today. Do you or have you felt pressure in your life? The kind of pressure that says, hey, there's no way out of this. There's just no way out of this situation. Just do what everybody else is doing. Do the easy thing. Almost like peer pressure if you're in school, or peer pressure you feel from culture or social media. This pressure that kind of mounts on you, and you don't think it might be the right thing, but you're like, everybody else is doing it. Have you ever felt pressure? So we are in chapter 3 of Daniel. We're going to jump into that. But before we jump into what I want to talk about today, I have to go back and kind of recap what Sam laid out for us in chapter 3. To understand it, it's a 15-year jump from chapter 2 to chapter 3. That just means Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and Daniel, they're about 30 years old. And really the storyline, the thing that's happening is Nebuchadnezzar. He's the most powerful man in the world, and he had this thought that he built a statue 90 feet tall, which is pretty stunning and impressive if you think about it. That's the same as like a 7 or 8 foot story building, not foot, story. And he demanded that everybody bow down to the idol, and if you don't, you're going to be thrown into a fiery furnace. Really characteristics of a great leader, right? But the 3 don't bow down. Everybody else bows down because it's the thing. They don't want to die. Everyone's doing its easy thing. These 3, they don't back down. And Sam said at first glance, when you read the story, and he was so right. When you read this story, you think, man, I just don't have anything in common with this story. They're in Babylon, there's this evil emperor, and they're never going home, the prisoners. I just don't have anything in common with this story. And the reality is, we have a lot in common with this story. What's common? Idols. We have modern day idols. And I would say, in many ways, the idols we have today are probably worse than the idols in Daniel 3, right? What is an idol for you and I? Well, Sam helped us. He said the Greek definition of idol worship is to overly desire. That means when I overly desire something more than God, it has become an idol. To understand modern day idols, you have to understand they're so sneaky. They're so sneaky you probably won't even be able to recognize them. Why? Because modern day idols, they take good things and they twist them, and then we want them more than God, but they're good things. So no one really should be talking to us about our good things, right? It's so interesting, and this is what makes modern day idols so hard to identify. I want to give you 2 examples. One example would be rest. It's kind of a big thing these days, me days, mental health days, rest from volunteering days, and who would ever be against a good thing like rest? No one's against a good thing. With all of our leaders and volunteers, we basically tell people, be rested, have balance in your life, because it's a good thing. But when I pursue rest, when I overly desire it more than my relationship for God and the things of God, it's become an idol. So do you see what I'm saying? Rest is good. We want you to be rested, and we encourage you to do the right things to be rested. But if I overly desire it, this good thing has been twisted into an idol. Another example that I like talking about is money, success, and comfort, right? Work hard, play hard, right? Save and build a good retirement. The more money you have and the more wisdom you have around that, the more secure you are, obviously. Who would ever be against working hard and saving, right? Everybody is pro that, right? But when I pursue wealth over my relationship with God and the things of God, it's become an idol. So do you see it? Do you recognize it? That money is a good thing. Scripture actually says the love of money is evil, but money is a good thing. It's just a tool. And we encourage you to work and save. But if I overly desire money over my relationship with God, it's become my modern day idol. Modern day idols, they're so sneaky because they're good things that have become twisted, and then we end up desiring them more than God. And if you don't think these modern day idols are a thing, you should see what happens when you have conversations with people and say, hey, you need to put down your modern day, you need to end your modern day idols, the good things, right? Oh my word, the response. How do you think it goes when you tell people that's probably a good thing you're dealing with, but you're overly desiring, you need to cut out the good things of your life? Well, the response today is the exact same response when God says to the children of Israel, you need to put down your idols. And I told Sam, we've had a lot of conversations about this. I don't know if you can talk about modern day idols with actually offending people. Even as redemptively as we try to be, I don't know if you can do it. Do you remember the verse Sam gave us last week? It's so powerful. Matthew 22:36. It said, Teacher, which is the greatest commandment of the law? Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. It's interesting because Jesus did not say, love the Lord your God with some of your heart, some of your soul, and some of your mind. He didn't say, hey, I want you to jump into the day, exhaust yourself getting everything done, and then maybe after your me day, then just give me the leftovers. He doesn't say that. It was such a powerful talk to understand modern day idols. And so what I want to do is I want to jump into the story that was in Daniel 3 that Sam started. Let's read what began to happen. Let's talk about it. Daniel 3. Then Nebuchadnezzar flew into a rage and ordered that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be brought before him. When they were brought in, Nebuchadnezzar said to them, is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you refuse to serve my gods or to worship the gold statue I've set up? I will give you one more chance to bow down and worship the statue I have made when you hear the sound of the musical instruments. But if you refuse, you will be thrown immediately into the blazing furnace. And then what God will be able to rescue you from my power? What a stunning moment. If you process the story, what would you have done? I mean, can you imagine how intimidating this moment would have been? You're in front of the most powerful man of the world, and he's livid. He's demanding that you betray God and you bow to him. Everyone is around you at this point. It's not like you're just at a breakfast with this guy. Like, everybody is around you, watching you. And then he taunts you, and he's not wrong. Who do you think can rescue you from me? This is an impossible situation. In this moment, life is screaming to these young men, do the obvious thing. Do what everyone else is doing. Do the easy thing. Why? Because there's no way out of this, right? This pressure had to be insane intense. So let's hit the time out here. Have you felt pressure in life? Have you had those moments in life when life comes against you and it screams and it's like there's no way out, this is impossible? Life is saying, do the easy thing, do what everybody else in culture is doing, just go with it, because if you don't, you're really going to stand out, right? What pressure are you facing right now? What is it that is testing your trust in God? Maybe it's trusting God with your future. Maybe it's the moment where you're supposed to love your wife or your husband, but you feel like, hey, they just don't deserve it. Maybe you're walking through school and it's the pressure from other kids or pressure from social media. Maybe it's that feeling that others are getting ahead and you're not, so you got to cut corners to get ahead. Maybe it's the pressure you're feeling to kind of check out on life and check out on God. What pressure are you facing? Let's keep reading to see how they respond. We're going to jump to Daniel 3:16. It says this, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied, O Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you. Oh my word, like if you slow down and read this story like verse by verse, this is stunning. I am in awe of their response to the most powerful man in the world, and he's livid with all the people around him. Like, I'm just in awe. They would not bow down to the idol. They wouldn't bow down to it as King Nebuchadnezzar is just throwing insults at him. They would not bow down. And because even in this moment when life was screaming, do the easy thing. Don't be stupid. Like, just do what everyone else is doing. Just get along. Like, no one's ever going to know. Like, just bow to the idol, right? How do they respond? This is amazing to me. They calmly faced the king and his rage, and they say, we don't need to defend ourselves before you. How in the world could they experience so much rage and so much pressure and be so calm? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. Because what they did was before the moment of pressure, they had already surrendered their lives to God. And because they made the decision to surrender their lives to God, they were able to calmly face the rage of the king. And this is the first thing that we must know about pressure when you're going to face pressure. You must make the decision before you face the pressure. You have to make the decision, am I going to live for myself or am I going to live for God? And if you don't make that decision, it just becomes a really, really intense moment. If you do make that decision, it makes standing before the king calmly that much easier. I don't know if you remember, but Jesus said this in Luke 16. He said, no one can serve two masters. For you will hate one and love the other. You will be devoted to one and despise the other. This means that today, before you click out of this YouTube video, you need to make a decision if you're going to surrender your life to God or not. And here's why. Because the moment you click out of this YouTube video, you're going to go back into life and you're going to feel pressure and life is going to scream at you, hey, do the easy thing. It's what everybody else in culture is doing. It's what everybody else in your family is doing. It's how everybody else responds. It's what everybody, and pressure will come in on you and it'll seem insane and impossible to do the right thing. And chances are, if you don't make this decision, you're going to fold. Right? And you're going to have to make this decision. Am I going to have to live for myself or am I going to live for God? Because Jesus said you can't serve two masters. And if you don't make this decision, it's going to be so hard because you're going to want to serve yourself and you're going to want to serve God. And when this huge battle rages against you, it's going to torment you. It's going to be like the hardest thing that you've ever experienced. If you met anybody and they talk about their Christian faith, it's so hard. Well, yeah, because they haven't quite made the decision to go all in. Today, right now, answer the question, have I fully surrendered my life to God? What seems to be common today is people don't want to make that decision. Why? Because if they don't make that decision, then they can keep doing whatever they want to do. We can feel good about attending church now and then. We can feel good about trying to be a good person. We can even make others believe that we're mature Christians of Christ, while at the same time we can keep our options open and do whatever we want, right? The problem is when pressure hits, following Jesus is going to be insane hard. Why? Because I never fully surrendered my life to God, right? James 4:7 says this, quit dabbling in sin, purify your inner life, quit playing the field, hit bottom and cry your eyes out. The fun and games are over. Get serious, really serious. Get down on your knees before the Master. It's the only way you'll get on your feet. Do you see that phrase behind me? I love it in the Message version. It says, quit playing the field. That just simply means stop trying to keep all your options open. Please hear me. Before the pressure hits, you have to fully surrender your life to God. You have to make a decision, right? Only then will you be able to be calm and respond back to the pressure of life, because you will say, I've already made my decision. It's really simple. I don't have to defend myself or God before you. Let's keep reading because they keep talking to King Nebuchadnezzar. Daniel 3:17. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God whom we serve is able to save us. He will rescue us from your power, your majesty. But even if he doesn't, we want to make it clear to you, your majesty, that we will never serve your gods or worship the gold statue you have set up. What are they saying? They're saying because they fully surrendered their lives to God, they're now going to fully trust God. Regardless of the outcome, because they had no idea what was going to happen. Regardless of the outcome, we will not bow to your statue. We know God is able. We know that's not even a question. We know God is able to save us, and we're going to relax in that. This is remarkable. I would call it next level trust or next level faith. And just to hit a timeout to process this, are you there in your Christian faith? This next level trust and integrity that says, regardless of the outcome, I will not bow to a modern day idol. I will not bow to peer pressure. I will never go along with culture and do the easy thing. I will never overly desire the good things of my life over my passion for God. Things like rest and vacation, money, sports, image, physical beauty, material possessions, success, power, popularity, careers, parenting, and on and on. I know God is able, regardless of outcome, I will follow Christ. I think living like this, this next level trust or this next level faith, it can be a challenge. I think what's common is that we want to give our lives to Jesus, and we probably sincerely do at some point, but sometimes after we give our lives to Jesus, we get hyper concerned and worried and stressed if life's going to work out the way we want. So we give our lives to Jesus, but then after we give our lives to Jesus, again, we get hyper worried and stressed, filled with anxiety, like it's got to work out just the way I want, right? It's almost like we never gave him our life. Or if we did, we kind of grab it and bring it back and say, yeah, I gave it to you, but I want it back because I really want everything to work out the way I want it to work out. If we fully surrender our lives to Jesus, then we can fully trust him. God is able, and we can relax in that. The kind of trust in God that we can have where we're at peace as life unfolds because we know God's ultimately in control. It's the kind of living where you don't care about what the world cares about, the wanting your own way, appearing important in front of other people, trying to get everything for yourself, but instead we care more about God and his kingdom. To have next level trust and integrity, next level faith, this next level stuff, we need to believe that everything that happens, God's in control, he sees the big picture, and it's ultimately for our good. Romans 8:28 tells us that, right? That's why we can be so sure that every detail in our lives of love for God is worked into something good. Now, before I move on, I want to talk about this real quickly. It said God has worked in our lives of love for God is worked into something good. It didn't say it's going to look out the way you want. It didn't say that if you trust God and say the right prayers, everything's going to be successful and prosperous and comfortable. It didn't say that. It said he's going to work it into something good. It may not look the way you want it to look, but he's going to take it and do something good with it. Let me ask you, are you there in your Christian faith? Are you able to fully trust God, regardless of outcome, regardless of outcome, because you know God is able? Let's read how the king responds, because you can only imagine, right? He said Nebuchadnezzar was so furious with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego that his face became distorted with rage. He commanded that the furnace be heated 7 times hotter than usual, right? Who would do that? Why did he geek out? Why was his face distorted with rage? Well, maybe he was an emotional infant and he just wasn't ready for someone to stand up to him. Maybe he was insecure and he saw like the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They had this incredible integrity and it just flipped him out. Whatever the reason, he overreacted. The furnace is going to kill people, so he geeks out and makes it 7 times hotter. That's what he ordered, right? And this brings us to a very important point that you really need to wrestle with. When you live with uncompromising trust and integrity in Jesus, it may unnerve people around you, including people who go to church with you, right? And they may overreact to you, and it has nothing to do with you. Why? Because it has more to do with the battle that they're dealing with. The problem is you walk away from this situation, you think, what did I do wrong? Like I'm trying to love God and trust God, and you're uncompromising it, and you're filled with love, and you're treating people well, and these people overreact to you. Like, what did I do wrong? Well, the thing is, you did nothing wrong. You're just reminding them of the battle that's inside of them. Over this past year, one of the things that have been popping up, because I've been walking with a lot of families, one of the common themes that is popping up is when a family member or a friend has become really unreasonable. Every time you're with them, you don't know if you're going to get the nice version or the nasty version. You always feel like you have to walk on eggshells around them because anything you say could trigger this angry explosion. It's interesting. They can be nice one day, but then the next day they can be screaming in anger about the hurts and wounds of something that happened 20 years ago. They seem to rewrite history. They say things and you were there and that's not what happened at all. They twist what really happened, and you walk away from these encounters like, what is wrong? What did I do wrong? You're dazed and confused. You did nothing wrong. There's a battle inside them, and it's coming out on you. And when you live with uncompromising trust and integrity in Jesus, it can unnerve people. Why? Because you're reminding them of the battle that's inside of them. Let's keep reading in Daniel 3:20. It says this, "Then he ordered some of the strongest men of his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and throw them into the blazing furnace. So they tied them up and threw them into the furnace, fully dressed in their pants, turbans, robes, and other garments. And because the king, in his anger, had demanded such a hot fire in the furnace, the flames killed the soldiers as they threw the 3 men in." So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, securely tied, fell into the roaring flames. What happens when we trust God? Well, that's where we go next week. Here's my question for you this week. How do you face the pressure of life? What do you do when life screams at you like, do the easy thing, there's no way out, just do what everyone else is doing, right? Number 1, you must make the decision today before the pressure hits. You have to make the decision, will I fully surrender my life to God? You have to make that decision. Why? Because if you don't, you're going to feel the pressure and then you're not going to know what to do. And then your Christian experience is going to be so much harder. It might even be miserable. Why? Because you're trying to serve 2 masters. You're trying to serve you and you're trying to serve Jesus. Make the decision before the pressure hits. And after you surrender your life to God, your only option is to fully trust God regardless of outcome. Why? Because God is able. God will take every detail in our lives of love for Him and turn it into something good. I said it may not turn out the way you want, but He'll turn it into something good. I want to give you a verse that I want you to walk with as you walk through these uncertain times. It's in Isaiah 43. I love this. I hope you grab it. I hope you print it out. I hope it's something that you keep with you. It says, when we go through deep waters, I will be with you. When you go through rivers of difficulty, you will not drown. When you walk through the fire of oppression, you will not be burned up. The flames will not consume you. For I am the Lord, your God, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior. To fully surrender and to fully trust God is really that next level faith. It's next level trust. It means you're growing up spiritually. You're moving from everything has to look exactly the way I want, and you're moving to God, I want what you want. And remember, when you live with uncompromising trust and integrity in Jesus, it can unnerve people. Here's what I want you to do here's what I want you to do today before we close. This is the thing that I want you to wrestle with. I want you to decide before we end and before you clip out of this, will I fully surrender my life to God? Will I fully trust Him? We'll see you next week.